Okay, this tape is going to be for Animamins number 4 and number 5. It's going to be short. Okay, Animamin number 4. Here we go. Is that we believe that his oneness is necessarily primary, which means HaKadosh Baruch Hu was first. There's nothing that exists besides him, very similar to Animamin number 1. So obviously we have to begin to understand what does this principle add on to the first principle that we learned before. So if we read this paragraph together, not only for some reason, just want to scroll down here. Thank you. Here we go. Not only did Abraham perceive a God who creates, but he also concluded this creator cares for and imposes obligations upon creation. The idea being that Kadosh Baruch Hu, not only did he create physical things, but part of creation, and that exists because of God, is a set of morality. And in other words, morals, what is right, what is wrong, that is also created by Kadosh Baruch Hu. The system of morality defined the relationship between the Creator and man to the extent that was proper and necessary to defend the truth, even at the cost of life itself. In other words, Avraham Avinu was ready to go to the Kivshana Esh, was ready going to the fire, the furnace, to defend not only that God was the creator of the physical world, but that there was morality, which also comes from Kadosh Baruch Hu. So the next paragraph is really the key. Abraham could not leave why unresolved. Why did God go ahead and do this? In other words, Kadosh Baruch Hu was not always creator. Kadosh Baruch Hu existed before creation. Why did Kadosh Baruch Hu will creation? Why did he bother with it? Why did he bother creating me? Why did he bother creating the world? And so he came to the conclusion is that he became convinced that God willed creation for the benefit of man, that God did all of this for us. This benefit is the absolute pleasure that is derived from closeness to the source of all existence. The more man will emulate the Creator, the closer he could come to him. Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world in order that we should be able to come as close as possible to Kadosh Baruch Hu. So we see right away from the fact that Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world, he did it as a chesed to us. It's not that God needed the world for himself. He did it for each and every one of us. So therefore, the point of principle number 4 is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu went ahead and he created the world for us. There's no other reason why he did it, because nothing existed beforehand. And therefore, in Avraham Avinu's worldview, why did Hashem be bothered to create the world? For us, for chesed. And therefore, whoa, if we're supposed to be as close as possible to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we're supposed to copy HaKadosh Baruch Hu's ways, therefore Avraham said, well, apparently I'm also supposed to go ahead and provide chesed for other people. So that's why Avraham Avinu became, and together with Sarah, became known as tremendous Gomlei Chesed. Ikar number 5. Ikar number 5, if you read it, God may be blessed is the only one who is proper to serve, to praise, and to make known his grandeur, to fulfill his commandments. In other words, when we daven, you can only go ahead and daven to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Now, this was a problem because we know that Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world, the sun, the moon, stars, and everything else. And therefore, people started to go ahead and do and says, well, again, since they were created by God, I can go ahead and daven to them. And they started to worship the sun and the moon, and then they forgot who the actual creator of the sun and the moon were, and they started to worship the sun and the moon as separate entities. The Rambam describes us all how the whole idea of idolatry got started just because of this particular notion. Now, in the military, in the Savah, okay, so you have two people. You have the sergeant and you have the Ramakal, the commander in chief. When you need something, when you're going to be a soldier, when you are drafted into the army and you're going to want to get out to Shabbat, so what are you going to do? You're not going to call up the Ramatkal, the chief of staff, ask them to get up for Shabbat. You're going to speak to your mefaked. And that's what people thought. I'm not going to speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm going to speak to his agents. But those agents being the sun and the moon, or people would pray to angels, which we're not supposed to do as well. So that's why people did it. But this Hanimam tells us, no, that's different in the military. Because in the military, you try calling the commander-in-chief. He says, who are you? You're bothering me. But since HaKadosh Baruch Hu created you, each one of us has an intimate relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and each one of us has the right, the opportunity and the obligation to go ahead and to talk to our Creator and to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu directly, not the intermediaries, not the in-between people. Therefore, we do not daven to rabbis, we do not daven to angels, but rather we daven directly to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Pretty special.